this round works, I guess.
Alright, so we're going to go in-game now, taking a look at their builds, I guess. Let's start off, and I think I have the correct teams here. Red team over here is going to be, I think that's going to be hard to carry. Yep, red team over here is going to be hard to carry. And over here on the blue team, we're going to have our first Chinese team of the day, if I am correct here. It's going to be TR over here. So let's take a look at them first, actually, see what they've got under the hood. First off, we have Annie Leonhardt. I think it's meant to be pronounced Lionheart, maybe? It's going to be running with that, it's going to be running Dagger Pistol, actually. So our first Dagger Pistol Thief of the day. For those of you unfamiliar, Thief Meta is a bit staggered right now. A lot, like I'd say it's pretty like 70-30, maybe a little bit more than that. 70% sort of running that Sword Dagger thing now. It's pretty popular. But some are still sticking true to the Dagger Pistol build, like this one here, I guess. So that it's going to be taking a look at it here. 6 runes to the Scholar, Dagger Pistol, obviously, along with that Short Bow, the Berserker's Amulet, and the traits themselves. 25 points into Deadly Arts, 30 points into Critical Strikes, and 15 points into Trickery. Moving now on to Ivan to Amigo, running with 6 runes of the Soldier, a Staff, as well as a Scepter Shield. The Cleric's Amulet, the traits are going to be 0, 0, 10, 30, 30, so this is going to be that pretty defensive build. Please note, he is running with Signet of Resolve instead of Shelter, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. It's a lot more healing power, but it's not a guaranteed heal like the Shelter usually is. But other than that, it's going to be that defensive build, able to soak up a lot of damage. So he's going to be obviously the tank for his team, or the bunker as it's called in Guild Wars 2. Moving now on to Zin, seeing what he's running here. 6 runes of the Scholar, Sword Focus, as well as the Great Sword, the Berserker, or the Berserker's Amulet, and the traits 20, 20, 0, 0, 30. So that's going to be your quintessential Shatter build. A lot of AoE damage, a lot of potential bursts that can come out of this player, but at the same time, if he's not careful, he can get killed pretty easily too. Moving now on to Skyfall Tofu, running with 6 runes of the Nightmare, Staff, in addition to the Scepter, Warhorn, and the Pure Abbot Amulet. The traits 30, 30, 10. Obviously going for that Doomfire trait that a lot of Necromancers are going for nowadays, in addition to the consume conditions for his heal. Plague Signet, that Spectral Wall can be tossed down into teamfights and really be a pesky menace there, and then a Shadow Fiend as well, so Shadow Fiend's an interesting choice. And then we're going to have another Warrior here, guys. I know a lot of people are waiting for Warriors here to come into play now, but we do have one here. Is going to be running with 7 runes of the Ogre, a Hammer, as well as an Axe Shield, the Berserker's Amulet as in addition to that. 10 points into Arms for Unsuspecting Foe, 30 points into Defense for Merciless Hammer, 10 points into Tactics for Leg Specialist, and 20 points into Discipline for Sharpened Axes and Warrior Sprint. So it's a cool build we're going to see there. Definitely looks to be a little bit maybe on the control side as well as the damage side. Hammer is an interesting choice for a two-handed weapon. Usually we would see Greatsword in a build such as this, and the trait spread is somewhat weird to say the least as well. So, and again, I'm not too familiar with Warriors. I don't know if you know anything about this build, Cyrif, or not, or...
I do not, but I'm really excited to see Battle Standard used to, like, maybe even offensively. Oh man, I love Battle Standard. Go watch. There was a match that you guys did, the 5 Warriors, right, with the Battle Standard, Death from Above. Go watch that 12-hour stream. Find that match. It is so sick. It is so good. Let's go over to the red team, to Hard to Carry, another Taiwanese team today. We're going in with Tiberius Shifter, who's right now, we're going to see what he's doing. He's running 4 runes of the Nightmare and 2 runes of Lissa with a Scepter Warhorn in one set and a Staff in the other. Another Warhorn build for Android 2 to obsess over here. But he's also running Shadow Fiend and Flesh Golem as his skills and his elites. So we're gonna go into Kuro now. The thief over here, he's running Dagger Pistol,
another Dagger Pistol,
and Short Bow.
Interesting.
It's pretty sick. But he's also running 6 runes of the Scholar, and he's going to do 10 into Deadly Arts, 30 into Critical Strikes for Executioner, and 30 into Trickery, so that's 10, 30, 0, 0, 30, and he's going to get Sleight of Hand on Trickery as well. Blue, what do you think of that? The Dagger Pistol especially.
The Dagger Pistol, here's the thing with Dagger Pistol, is it's a very, to say the least, and in order to use it to its biggest potential, you need to be an extremely high-skilled player, in my opinion, because of the fact that it's such hit or miss in terms of the damage it's able to deal. But I don't know. It's really going to come down to the player, I think, based on how well it can be used here. But the build itself is pretty usual for such a thing, I think. The traits are kind of off-putting, but again, I'm not an expert on Thief yet, so I wouldn't there's a couple variations of the Dagger Pistol build that I'm aware of. So it's going to be. It's like I said, I think the Dagger Pistol build relies mainly on the player's choice, and if the player is able to utilize it to its full extent. But we're getting started, so real quick, we're just going to go over the rest of the stuff here. Chaptai running with 6 runes of the Forge, in addition to the pistol dagger, or not the pistol dagger. dagger, the pistol shield, with the rabbit amulet. 30-0-0-30-10, so that's going to be a heavy damage build, as well as prioritizing possibly side points as well. He's running with the Elixir R despite it being changed. TW Pineapple here is going to be the Elementalist running with Scepter Dagger and a Valkyrie's Amulet. The traits 0-30-0-10-30, and Versailles is going to be running with 6 Rings of the Soldier, Sword Shield, in addition to the Staff, Cleric's Amulet, and the 0-0-10-30-30 build. But opening up the map, let's see where teams decide to split themselves.
Absolutely. We're looking at blue team going in a major push here on Clock Tower. 3 of their members going into Clock Tower. Meanwhile, their Thief is on Treb, but at Mansion, we're seeing a really aggressive strategy from our Taiwanese team and hard to carry. Pineapple and Kuro are over here trying to deal with Skyfall Tofu, and they'll get him. Skyfall Tofu is really low in health. Let's go in with him and see what he's trying to do here in this. Oh, no, he's dropping in and out of that form. He's going down, and finally, actually, the Treb hits him right off the bat. Actually, not, that was his Treb. We're going to see Pineapple go try and get a missed stop, but no. Skyfall is up, rallies over, and they're seeing a portal. He's got a portal into the mid. He's going to be fine. Let's see what else is going on in Magic, though, as Zin is back, swapping places with Skyfall there, but it looks like blue team is going to be fine with their Mansion, but things are not really even yet. There's 22, 23 points for the red team because they managed to get kills in the very early game, and Ivan to Amigo is down on the mid. Treb from blue team here is doing so much damage. You're seeing Annie Leonhardt, the Thief, who's actually going to abuse her mobility rather as soon as she sees someone coming for her to get away. That's really great decision making in terms of who they want on Trem. Meanwhile, Pineapple is going for the stomp on Zin and will get it. Excuse me.
Oopsie daisy, stomped the wrong one, I think.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
Stomped the wrong one there, so he did buy this time, but it's not really going to matter in the long run of things.
Anyway, so Red's got this double cap going on here. They're up 60 to 12 here. Blue has not managed to get onto Windmill to cap in. Seems like Chotapi will actually get on this point, and we may see a 3 cap here soon.
Indeed, taking a look at the Windmill now, he is getting that, but I think we do have as well, we have the blue team trying to take away the, actually red team's actually trying to take away the blue team off the Treb here now, and I think he did so pretty successfully there. He took out Leonhardt here now, and Kuro has come on here to take that, so red team does have a full 3 cap at this point. There's 2 members moving into Mansion as well, and I think they're a little bit split right now, which with a counter 3 cap, that may not be the best strategy, but it is sort of working for them. They have the congestion at mid, which has forced red team to pull off a Mansion to come back to mid and defend it, so they are going to be getting that 1 point back to say the very least.
Absolutely. I kind of like what Blue is doing here. They decide to partition off in sort of like, oh, 3 people go home, 2 people on mid, so that they can kind of keep Red at bay from going to that home point and keeping that 3 cap. That's sort of the tactical thing that I like to see from these teams. But we're seeing Versailles was actually down, or Ivan to Amigo was down as well. Both those players got up there. Anti-Fate at Sushi is going to get down as well, and here comes a stomp from Versailles, and there it is. Red team's going to keep mid, no problem, but it looks like Kuro actually decapped the point here over at Mansion, and Skyfall is in a lot of trouble. Most of the team is actually dead. Skyfall actually managed to get all the way back up to a full health. She was probably in Death Shroud form just recently.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I think as soon as this team reses, they need to put pressure on Red hardcore. They need to support Tofu first on the home point, but they need to point their aggression towards Windmill rather than Clock Tower.
And I just wanted to point out there, I don't know if you caught that, but Zin has had a pretty nice escape play here. I don't think it's gonna do to its fullest extent, no. But red team had a pretty nicely executed gank on him there, and he just portaled himself up top. So that was a pretty nice juke. Unfortunately, the Guardian Versailles was kind of available there to take him down from the bottom, but that was a pretty nice move by him there. Just wanted to highlight that for a second, and now we have contention over here at the Windmill. Let's take a look at the Warrior, actually, see how he holds us off.
Absolutely. We're seeing Anti-Fate go in on this Windmill point, but Ivan to Amigo's coming up to support him. He's going to get this and power off, give Anti-Fate that might. The 12 stacks is so powerful, and Chotapi is just going to get stunned up here, but he's going to get supported by Kuro the Thief, and what we saw last game was just a lot of just Thief aggression from those other players, and I want to see the same thing going on in this game. That Thief power is ridiculous, especially with the mobility and just that range skill, but it looks like Chotapi is just rolling around here, managing to kind of evade, and look at him go. He's actually doing pretty well for himself, but I guess this 2v1 managed to actually now with a 3v1 triple stomp at the same time. One flag goes to the face though. This is really an interesting fight for Blue because they're managing to finally get this cap point, and now they're getting an income.
Indeed. Blue team will be moving out from this point, but the question is to where now. They are, again, splitting, which I really don't agree with this. They are splitting their assets up. The Warrior is going to be heading up around, possibly to try and take out the Treb, maybe? I don't know. But they're sort of heading up around the back here. They did split themselves up. There's a couple members heading out outside of spawn. I think the red team's Thief is actually sort of trying to aggress out of spawn here. Let's actually take a look at Kuro here over on COF, seeing how he's doing. Have to jump on blue team's Treb in a second, but we'll come back to that in a second, actually. Back here at the mid, if you want to illustrate that fight for us.
Absolutely. In the mid, we've got 3 people from blue here going on. Versailles is getting mowed, but he's getting support from the Treb, which is what he needs. Of course, we've got Shotify on the Treb. For the first time, they're really using it, but Versailles goes down, and what's going on is that Pineapple will res him in that mist form, and that Treb will just keep people from getting to him. Of course, Versailles is fine. He pops that Sank there against the enemy Sank, and when you use Sanctuary on these midpoints as a Guardian, what you're going for is control. Control skills on the Guardian are extremely strong. You stop people from walking onto points, and which stops them from capping. And the sort of thing that you're trying to do is just lower the amount of possible surface area an enemy person can be. You're seeing Versailles going up against Ivan Tumigo, deepsing him down instead of opting to go for the stomp, even though it's possibly safe. We did see Ivan pop that wave of light as soon as he went down. He can just kind of sit there and juke him out. What that does is that it keeps him from respawning immediately. But Red Team has this game pretty much... Oh my god, here comes Anti-Fate just out of nowhere, trying to 1v1 here, but we're going to see a lot of... Just everyone is here on the mid, really. The Trebs are on both sides are down. Red and blue are kind of converging here to try and get things done. Shadow Refuge goes down on Annie. We're just going to see what's going on from the blue team here as they try and push in and get a foothold here.
Now, Annie there just popped her Basilisk Venom. Unfortunately, it was countered as she was knocked back there. She tried to go in on one of the Red Team's members. I think it was a pretty nicely illustrated or pretty nicely orchestrated gank. Unfortunately, the engineer kind of screwed it over there. I think it was the engineer with that knockback. So it was a pretty nice play, and unfortunately did get countered there with a knockback, and that just goes to show how quickly things can change in this game. We did also have Antifake get knocked out there, so it does look like Red Team is going to be holding on to this point.
Look at the health of blue team. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Ivan's the only one alive, and he's over here at Mansion fighting Tiberius. Tiberius is actually a player that we didn't get to see much of. Let's go in with him. Is running this Necro build, this Warhorn stuff that we were talking about, kind of jokingly, but it is extremely powerful. Now he's transitioning to Marks. Ivan is down. He's just waiting for that wall of light. Now he can just go over and get this stomp here, and this is going to be Red's point again in no time. But here comes Skyfall to try and deal with this. Really forced out of Death Shroud, using that special walk, but no, there it is. There's the Red Team win, 500 to 77. Blue Team didn't actually break 100 points. No. That's so heartbreaking.
It is, and it's really just going to show. I mean, obviously, the biggest thing to keep in mind here is this is still extremely early in the tournament. I believe our brackets were determined randomly, so we're definitely going to see the better teams, and I think Hard to Carry is one to root for in the future here. But we are going to be having possibly Hard to Carry VK coming up here, and it's definitely going to be. To say the least, it's definitely still a lot of tournament to come up here.
Absolutely, we're going into Game 2 though, which is sick, and I'm excited to see this on Temple, because that thief work from I can't remember his name, but the thief from Kuro was a thief that did amazing work, similar to Handsome Man in the last match, and it's something that is just really doing so much just utility for the team. They can, especially on this map, you can run, you can get those steals that Handsome Man did in the last match. Kuro can do that. They have this victory locked down. But on the same side, on the same token, different side of the same coin, you have Annie Leonhardt on the other team who can run the same builds, can do the same stuff, and if she aggresses and she goes totally aggressive into this game, as Kuro did last game and as Handsome Man did last match, then we're gonna have an interesting fight on our hands. And I think that Blue Team can actually fight back and take this to the first Game 3 that we can see all night. Hopefully that is the case, Blue.
Indeed, I do hope it is. We're going to see Blue Team here come in. This is a completely different map as well. Something to note, and a lot of people undervalue this. I do think it's a pretty big thing, though. You know, the way the points are shaped, the way the points are arranged in this map is completely different from the other two maps that we've played today. In the other two maps, the points are arranged in a straight line, such as I'm illustrating on the side now. Whereas, if you want to try to circumnavigate between them, you have to go completely around the map in order to get to them, and that actually hurts a lot of teams. This map is in a triangular pattern. Whoopsie daisy, I didn't want to do that. But I'm looking at the map now. This this map is in a triangular pattern, so it's a lot easier to sneak between points because they're a lot closer and a lot easier, you know, they cut through them. There's a lot more pathing between them. And I think it does show the strength of some teams in a lot, because it gives them more options to sneak around to these points. And points that focalize on the side points, it does give them some strength, I think, on this map.
Absolutely. Now, the side point meta that we saw in the beginning on Faux Fire, applying it to this map, like you said, is such a different thing. It's such a different beast, because especially on Faux Fire, the fact that you have like a path from the base to every part of the map is actually kind of daunting and great at the same time, because you have that mobility. You can do these beginning game invades that we're seeing, where we saw last match, red team would invade on Henge, and it actually came to like bite them in the butt, if I'm remembering correctly, because blue team actually managed to push them back and get onto wherever they needed to go. And this is the sort of tactics that I like to see, because it just shows high-level thinking. It shows, okay, we're going to go here, we have this man advantage. At the same time, we have X amount of people doing other things in the map, and it's similar to choosing a build order in an RTS, or choosing what champions to go in a MOBA. It's really, really the bread and butter of this game here.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's really showing up. It's really sorry. Anyway, I'm actually going to go into a different talk now. So right now, guys, we are just waiting. I think one of our Chinese co-casters, or one of our Chinese simulcasters, took a little bit of a break, so we're going to be starting up in just a couple seconds here. But once again, for those of you just joining us, this is the APAC Guild Wars 2 tournament. This is the first ever Asian tournament, and we're lucky enough to have a pretty big sponsor in the name of esports come in here now. Thermaltake is happily sponsoring this tournament and providing some pretty nice prizes for the winning teams as well. Pretty much a full PC set. Beyond the PC parts themselves are being given out to winning teams. That includes a headset, mouse, keyboard, in addition to a full chassis and cooling system, and a power supply as well, are going to be given to the first, second, and third place teams.
Absolutely, and we're going to see a total of 10 teams from the Asian scene duke it out for this amazing prize pool. And we're seeing, I think the tournament was open to pretty much anywhere in Asia. Russia, Japan, Korea, China, Taiwan, Southeast Asia like the Philippines, Thailand is here, and of course Australia and New Zealand were also available to come in. We're now seeing teams from Thailand, from Taiwan, from Australia, from China, and we've got one from Japan even. And it's great to see the sort of esports community grow, and to see the competition, because maybe one of these days they'll start coming over here and start kicking our asses.
Yeah, and in addition, that's great to see the scene grow. It's great to see teams from different regions. I think some of the teams such as oh my goodness, I forgot the name. Let me go to the bracket real quick. I think some of the teams such as Thai Alliance actually have been around for some time. It's just now they're finally getting some tournament exposure because of the fact that there is a tournament within convenient time zone to them. In addition, because of the lag, because of rather lag considerations, they are able to participate in this with other people from their region. So it's really great to see that grow. In addition to that, guys, we are, from what I understand, Thermaltake is going to be having tournaments in NA and EU as well pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. It's really great stuff Thermaltake's bringing to this tournament, and I really hope to see them support this game in the future as well. And special thanks once again to them for sponsoring this tournament.
Absolutely. Thermaltake is showing itself to be one of the leaders in esports, again with the TT Esports division. Also, the fact that they're even doing this, or Guild Wars 2, they're one of the first big sponsors of our game. So guys, don't hesitate. Go out to thermaltake.com, go to the contact page if you can, find some way to tell them thank you. And if that means going out and buying one of their products, I highly recommend it, because they're amazing. They're extremely high quality. You'll never get crappy parts. And I've never had a bad Thermaltake product happen to me ever.
They make some pretty good gaming quality stuff, and if you're into more productivity and whatnot stuff, they have a lot of that kind of stuff too, such as cooling units, power supplies, and whatnot. They're kind of a PC manufacturer, so check them out.
And I'm so man, this tournament is going to be so sick. I cannot wait for the finals to see who manages to come up on top. And we're starting to see a lot of the teams that that utilize the sort of I want to say, I hesitate to say meta, because they're not exactly doing things that we would do in North America or even in EU. They've got a slight twist on them, but they're really, the coordination and sort of the teamwork and the strategies that we're seeing I'm realizing are universal. I think that's such a great thing to realize, is that there's not necessarily a right and wrong way to play this game, but there are definitely strategies that you can use and abuse to take that lead.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of somewhat there's a lot of stuff roaming around right now that says the metal is kind of volatile, but there's a lot of stuff being seen here today that proves that maybe they can change it up a little bit to try and change that around and maybe
right.
Unvolatilize the volatile meta, as I've been told it's being called right now.
You know, I'm kind of a person who doesn't believe in like imbalance.
Oh.
You know, back when I was playing a lot of StarCraft and doing a lot of that kind of stuff, I was always convinced that there was just some way to beat those hard strategies that were like abused or whatever, or really common, that I just didn't know about and that no one knew about. And I'm still a kind of believer in that when it comes in terms of like the Condi stuff that we're seeing when it comes to Necros and stuff like that. And I cannot wait to see what these teams have to sort of answer the problems that are given here. You know, it's different cultures, different people, different mindsets. Give different solutions to different problems. And so I'm super psyched to see what these teams have to offer. And so we're about to go in on game 2 of Hard to Carry versus Celestial Being. Celestial Being is down 0-1 to Hard to Carry, Blue.
Indeed they are. So Celestial Being, if Celestial Being loses this one, they are going to be dropped out of the losers bracket, where they will have one more game, not one more set, one more game to bring themselves back. Whereas if the red team loses this one,
Blue, go to the map. Go to the map right now.
I got you. Oh my goodness.
Look at that. Look at that blue team. The blue team invade is gonna do. They're gonna do it again. Watch as this 4-man comes over to deal with Chotapai over in mind. Chotapai needs to tell his team that they are gonna lose, and they need to go do some sort of aggression as well, because he's just going to die here. If he does not disengage, he's going. Well, he's probably locked down.
Here comes the Condi. Yeah, the lockdowns are all over him right now. Couldn't even help it there as Lanny Lionheart just came in there, burst him out. Even with the smoke field, he's not even going to be able to interrupt the stomp. He's going to be out. There is reinforcements coming into the red team, but you see this now. He is backing out versus, or actually, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong person. Tiberius there is backing out in order to not really just walk into suicide with that. So that was a good choice there by the red team. And even now, red team is changing themselves up here, heading over to Henge.
We're seeing a disconnect though.
Oh,
red team is down a man. This is what blue team needs to get back in this game. Right now the rules are set so that disconnect can come back into the game no matter what. Chieftain is now being taken by Kuro. They're gonna need these points to get back in the game, but blue team has managed to take spawn here. Blue team is going to also come up behind Tiberius in the mid. We might see a 3-cap aggression here. Let's go in with the people at the mid here, seeing the 3-man group coming in. They're going to decap, no problem. Tiberius is kind of staying on the fringes, but here comes Chotapai to deal with it as well. We're going to see a 2v3 here, and no, a 3v3 as Pineapple comes up. Let's go in with Pineapple. Let's see what this Ellie is doing here. Currently, the Lightning Form zapping away, trying to abuse the fact that they both have the buffs here for their stats. Manages to take that big old bomb, but here comes... Yeah, I think it was actually Pineapple that disconnected and is coming back to the game, actually. But Chotapai is now on point, and they've actually managed to defend Keep Blue.
Indeed, they have. Looking at the keep down, very nicely done by red team, and unfortunately, it seemed like they held off that pretty nicely despite blue team coming in for the gank there. And as well, taking advantage of that, red team, we're going to see a lot of their members pushing onto the mine out in order to get that second point. They need to start taking the lead back.
Absolutely, Kuro doing the objective work like a boss, decapping the mine point, and Pineapple, I love what Pineapple's doing. If we go to where he is, he's positionally, red team is going to stop blue team from getting to the mine point. He's at this sort of choke point because there's really only 2 entrances that blue can use to get to the mine. And he's cut off the Necro. He's going to cut off the Mesmer here as well. And it's going to be so... It's so good for a red team here. Now they can just move up to keep and continue defending the 2 points.
Indeed, as they're all going to be moving up here now, red team's going to be moving in to defend and actually taking out some members of the blue team as they go up there. This is a good strategy as well. Really, by taking down Zwin here, Zin rather, can't really do much about that. So really, just by ganking them there, they can just leave the bodies there as well and let them take their 15 seconds or whatever how long it takes to respawn.
Absolutely, I'm still in with Pineapple because he's about to. No,
yeah,
he's actually gonna. He's moving past Ivan. Ivan deciding to no, he's gonna just deep some down. Let's see what sort of rotations we're seeing. Kuro managing to backcap Henge right now. Meanwhile, we're seeing Mine being taken by Chotapai as well. This is gonna be a 3-cap, not because Blue might have. Blue has a disconnect as well. We're going to see a sort of gentlemanly disconnect maybe, but red team is back in the lead, 163 to 153. Blue has no income. Anti-Fate is coming up on Henge, while Annie Leonhardt tries to keep Kuro away, but Pineapple and Kuro manage to juke Annie, and Anti-Fate's going to decap and try and get this Henge point for his team, but Pineapple is descending upon it with great fury.
And Kuro actually just managed to win a 1v1 over there against his opposing team, Steve, so nicely played there. Back here at this henge fight, though, we do have this going on at the moment, as we're taking a look at Pineapple Kick right now, taking on the Warrior over here, who's actually running with a longbow now. It's changed the build up a little bit this time. I think that was why we waited there for the Warrior to change up his build. But he's running that now, and with the reinforcements from his team, he has managed to force the red team off the point, only temporarily, however, because red team is about to come back in here with full force.
Absolutely. It was interesting to see Xin ported away from wherever he was to come in here and try and support his team. And they're going to see 3 of the 4 members of Blue out here on the point, and Ivan's going to be bunkering here momentarily. Meanwhile, Blue's opting to maybe push towards the Chieftain and try and get back in, but Red is just rotating back to the keep. We're going to see Chodify probably go up to Swan here and deal with that as well. But meanwhile, let's see what this aggression over here at Chieftain. Kuro is waiting. Nope, actually manages. He comes in too late. Does not manage to get the steal, but he's actually going to go up to the henge and maybe deal with Ivan.
Now, this is something I'd like to note real quick. Red Team, they have really good positioning, and some might disagree with me, but I really do think Red Team has positioning that a lot of teams should take note of right now, because of the fact that a lot of them are sort of available. Their Necromancer are taking the boss right now, and their Thief is running, just running counter, like, looking at the map view, Thief's running counter-offensive, and everybody's just really kind of available. Their engineers ready in case of backups, and they're all sort of within reasonable range to retreat to middle if they need to as well, so it's a really good positioning of the Red Team here, and I think they're going to be one to watch for the rest of this tournament.
Absolutely. Let's go to the keep because that's where the big team fight is going on. Ivan and Eddie Fate are the real sluggers here on the keep point, but Red's got Versaint finally in the fight here. Looks like some people went down, got some reses off though. Everything's fine for Red Team here. Really, Blue needs to sort of take one of their people. Actually, I think did Death LE, was that a mid-game switch?
No, he's been in here.
Really? Okay.
No, he's been in here, yeah. He was the one that disconnected. He's back in here now, though, so he's going to be back in this fight here now. But anyway, going back into the fight itself here, we do have members down on both sides. Versailles was actually taking down Chocopai was going to come in here and going for a stop on one of the Blue Team's members, and has actually managed to take down another one in the process as well, coming in with the residual AoE. So it does look like Red Team, although they did lose the first person in this fight, because of that positioning and the fact that they were all really available to fall back, they were able to win this mid-fight as well.
Absolutely. But again, the point is decap. They don't win it until it's theirs, unfortunately. Ivan's going to go down. They need to get on point and get that really fast. They can close out this game with relative ease if they do get that 3-cap once again. Ivan's actually technically down on point, I do believe. But here comes the stomp, or just the DPS from Tiberius, and here comes Versailles to also deal with it. The stomp will be momentarily. Let's look at Henge and see what's going on there. Pineapple is on the point trying to take it once again. Blue Team managed to decap it. What Blue Team is doing is something that I kind of like, because they're fighting back tooth and nail to get back in this game. They're peeling off, getting a side point, trying to keep Red spread out, because Red, when they're together, is extremely powerful.
Taking a look at this now, Kuro is actually just was looking at that behind. Kuro's actually doing a pretty nice job at chasing this member down. I think that's what they're using Kuro as, not really as a team fighter, because they can be pretty weak in team fights depending on how much condition damage is there. But Kuro has really been all over this map, kind of like the Thief from VK as well that we saw earlier. He's been all over this map, sort of just being if anybody watches Daughters, they're sort of being like what a bounty hunter would do, and just sneaking around the map, hunting for kills, trying to keep quintessential members of the team out of the fight. So I think they're using the Thief in a very interesting way that, while sort of has been utilized, I don't think it's been used to its full potential that we've seen before.
Absolutely. Now he's stealthing in to try and get a stomp here, and he does. He actually shadow stealth stomps, which is an amazing technique. This guy is actually very mechanically skilled. You can definitely tell. Red Team's gonna win. They don't even need that point. They're just fighting for kills at that point. Red Team wins 2-0 over the Chinese team here in Celestial Being. They're not out though. They're in the losers bracket. And I think it's C that we have next.
Indeed, I think they said that as well. So we're going to be moving into C, and let me go back to our webcams here real quick. There we go. You want to switch yours on there real quick for you all?
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. So we're going to be going into C here. So one of the teams this has already won one game. They were behind because I think they were one of the last members to register for the tournament, so they had to do one extra set. But Thai Lions did manage to win a game, so they have been progressing on, and are now going to take on our second Chinese team, MFC. So I think our next matchup is going to be Thai Lions taking on MFC. We're going to get to that in just a couple seconds. But again, we got to reset our arenas to the correct maps and all that, and we'll be right back. So stick around, guys.
Absolutely.